Okay, welcome everyone to the last of our four-part series of our native market success on marketing with Jill from Orca Designs. I'll let Jill introduce herself here in a minute, but we're so thankful that you're either back from this morning or maybe it's your first time joining us or maybe you're back from Tuesday. But either way, we're so happy to be here for Jill to wrap us up with this series. It will be available on demand on our Mighty Networks platform here in a month or so. So you'll be able to rewatch it, share it with your friends, really get the word out as much as you can. We feel like it's a great resource and is really going to help a lot of our trademark users and people in those circles increase their marketing abilities and capacities. And this is made possible in part by our friends with the USDA Office of Tribal Relations. So we're very thankful for their support in allowing this to happen. And with that, I will let Jill take it away.
Nawa tat a chiksta eat tata sa Jill Newtmeister potty tat tata kika skitty. I'm grateful to be here with you. I'm Jill Newmeister, a citizen of the Pawnee Nation of Oklahoma of the Skitty Band. Behind me is Atias Tadaha, Father Buffalo, and today we are going to, well, right now I was born and raised in Western Washington on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup people. Today I'm speaking from the traditional lands of the Karankawa people in the area known as the Gulf Coast of Texas. And we are continuing our series of branding and branded marketing. This is part two of our marketing segment. So this is of the fourth segment out of four different presentations. Today we will be covering a lot of ground. What I want to do is give you some real world sort of, I want to give you a little bit more in depth about a brand position statement template. I'm going to kind of just show you that template. Then we're going to go into a brand positioning ideas. I'm going to go through 26 different ideas for brand positioning ideas. I'm going to give you an example of a really terrific branding of a native producer that's really something for you to take a look at and really think about maybe what their brand positioning statement is while you're also thinking about your own. So this list of 26 is such a terrific way for you to maybe visualize what your positioning, if one of these positioning strategies is something that you can embrace. We're going to talk a little bit about the idea of maybe taking on the idea of having a purpose-driven positioning. I think it's a great direction for native produced products to take. We've already covered marketing metrics. So it will end up with social media trends for 2024. There's some real great actionable items there. So that's what we're covering in this last segment. Brand position statement template. So we've talked a lot about what it is. Your brand position is what tells your audience what you mean and what they're going to get from you versus your competitor. That's it in a nutshell. So that's, in some of the earlier presentations, there's a step-by-step on how to do it. What this is more like a template, fill in the blanks. There's all kinds of templates like this all over the internet. So, but this is just kind of how it works. So number one, you think about your target to this audience, to this target market that consists of millennials that spend a lot of time on TikTok that are looking for new and interesting products. You're going to create kind of who that target market is. So this is the person we are targeting. somebody who's interested in health and have and they value uh, a sustainable environment and products that help, that are sustainable, that are environmentally a good thing. And so this is how you're going to start your statement about who you're looking for, and what what are the key things that tie them to what it is that you do. Number two, you're going to talk about the category, how your product fits into the category. Okay, not just your product, but how it fits in the category, how it differentiates, how it solves the problem that your customer needs to solve. So your brand is the only native produced product in this category. It is the only product that provides certain types of probiotics, or that is produced from 100%, mm, I don't know, something something, and that is produced by people who care about the environment, who care about, you know, from time immemorial, our ancestors have always cared about stewarding the environment and stewarding these lands that traditionally we have lived on. So our products come from these lands, and so you're making the case of why your product, that customer should care about your products and your values. And I'm really kind of leaning into this value driven type of positioning. And you'll see that I will do that a bit more. This should also talk about, not just your competitive space that your brand operates in, but also talk about maybe your brand's source of growth. So this is an internal statement, and you might talk about, we intend to grow in this space by doing this and this, or introducing these products, or merging into, or opening wholesale end of things, or where we'll be exploring um, a new category in international markets. So this is really kind of talking about your brand, talking about what you're doing, how it fits in the category, what other categories you might fit into, and how you differ inside of there. And then really the next two things are supporting statements. Um, so we're a brand, your brand is the such and such, the only choice for native produced uh, product. And so here you're saying, what's your main benefit? What's the promise you're making to the consumer? So this brand is is such, and that is giving back to their community, that is um, su supporting these efforts to support the pollinators in clean water, and clean energy, by doing these things and partnering with these and lifting up and supporting. And so you're going to be, talking about the benefits, the brand's benefit, and make it clear, make it precise summary of those unique value your brand provides, without, don't, and one thing, be very careful here. This is, be careful here, because we're talking about benefits, but do not come up with benefits that are category generic benefits. Okay. Yes, all food has to taste good. All food has to be high quality. Don't use the word, premium quality. Don't use just real generic things, because You know, there are certain things that to be a player in any category, you have to be. Don't use that as your benefit. Okay. Number 4 is that's because of again, this is supporting points. Um, one or you come up with one or several reasons to believe. These are reasons to believe why they should believe and to support your benefit claims, i.e., that it's an explanation that gives credibility to your benefit claim and helps differentiate your brand. It could be that my grandmother taught me, uh, gave me these skills to produce certain type of food. Our ancestors have been creating, the healthiest food and maintaining the health and well-being of Mother Earth since for thousands and thousands of years. And these are important to us as a company, and therefore, so you can tie all of these things together, um, and provide these supporting roles. But remember to build this out big enough so that it's a robust statement, that you don't try to make this too short, but not too wordy. uh, make it so that it's your guiding document, so that anything you do, any messaging, anything you do, creating a logo, creating um, uh, a marketing plan, you can tie it back to this and say, all right, here's the messaging we're going to do in this campaign. It supports our positioning statement because, right? Everything should be able to come back and support it. So this is your strategy of how you're positioning. Uh, this is not it is not a public statement. It is your behind the scenes strategy of how you're going to compete with your competitors. So that's the template right there. Pretty simple. Again, you can find a lot of these templates on the internet, but that's the basics of a template for creating your positioning statement. We talked a lot about positioning, um, but this is kind of just the template for ultimately making that positioning statement that you will use as a guiding document. Next, we are going to, I'm going to, kind of came up with this presentation here that I think it'll give you a little more aha moments of, oh, that's what it looks like, or, oh, I could do that. So I want to give you these really great um, uh, examples of different type of positioning strategies. But remember, one of our one of our definitions for brand positioning is really all the associations that are related to your brand that people understand. So it's about associations, these different types of things that help people associate with ideas with your brand. So first, I'm going to start off with an example of a wonderful brand, a native brand that I believe has done a recent rebrand, and they're doing a great job. I want to show you this brand. I want to kind of point out some of the positioning parts. And I want you to just sort of think about this brand, and and think about your own brand. Then we're going to walk through 26 different ideas for brand positioning, brand associations that lead to your positioning. So it's a real exercise. Have piece of paper, pencil, um, and so Let's begin by reviewing this definition. A brand is a sum of all the associations consumers have about your offering. So here's an example of a lovely native brand. So this is Morning Like Kombucha. Uh, some of you may be familiar with this product. I'm just going to kind of show you the basics. So we have a beautiful logo that's uh, that has been designed, and this logo is on their bottles, and I think it looks wonderful. It is from a distance, it's got really good presence. Up close, I love the different colors to easily make you see that there are different colors. I just think this rebranding, I think they did a great job. But taking a little closer look at the brand and what they're saying about themselves, right off the bat, this is the website. They are saying wild, probiotic, local. They're saying handcrafted with farm fresh ingredients, indigenous women owned. They're also right up front are saying shop local delivery and shop shipping. So they offer two different ways to get their product. And I think they're really, I think that's good information to have right up front, right off the bat. But digging a little deeper, I want to show you what they're doing and how they're conveying their brand story, which again, think of the brand story is just sort of the written word behind your brand positioning. Um, and then, so who we are an indigenous and female owned small batch kombucha company located in Kansas City. We are proud to say that over 80% of our ingredients are harvested by local farmers that are committed to sustainable agricultural practices. In addition, we also create incredible seasonal flavors using ingredients handpicked in the wild by us. Our kombucha is made with love and intention so that it nourishes your body from the inside out. So start thinking about what type of positioning this is. We definitely have local in there. I see the possibilities for them to cross cross-reference with the local farmers, sustainable agricultural practices. Those are all there. Let's take a look at their marketing. In their marketing, they're taking beautiful photos. They're personal. They connect. They can connect with people who are looking for products where they can know a little bit more about the person who makes it. So this is uh, definitely that's what they're doing. They're creating meaningful uh, imagery and some posts that allow those high information people on social media that really love to dig in, love to know the person behind it, like to know the story, want to connect with sustainable products, and they're giving, so really that information's coming through just by looking at those photos. On there, I'm not going to be able to read this, but on their on their about us pages, there is this entire story about the start of their product. It was the owner definitely had some health problems, and they found kombucha to help alleviate those health problems. And so there is an origin story. There is an origin story that begins with with the the founder, and that's a beautiful positioning. That owner, it provides uh, an emotional way in for people to really connect emotionally with, and our consumers love transparency. They like to know who the product who made the product, whose idea was it, why does it even exist, how did it come into the world. They have a statement, not only a mission statement, but a commitment to sustainability statement. They're very transparent, showing their growers network, and they also make a statement about giving back. There is so much about this presentation and this product that is just talking about values. They're just out there in front. There's a lot of transparency, and it's really a powerful start to some amazing, it's just an amazing product and brand. So think now, I gave you this example because I want you to kind of see how, I describe their brand positioning just by looking at what they put out there. That's uh, so this is their brand experience that I'm seeing, all those touch points, all this, what I'm learning from them is what they want me to see. And it's pretty powerful. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is go through, it's really an extensive list. It's 25 different ideas. I'll kind of read them and then give you a bit of an example, but there'll be some ones that I will dig into a little deeper, because I think that there's so many opportunities for native producers to come up with brand positionings that do tie to your own native values, your own, your values, um, and culture, and to differentiate yourself in a way that is really just, just real and authentic, and so there's not just one strategy, there's several different ways to do it. So based on your comfort level, you might find one that works, because it's not just all this. You don't have to do it exactly like this example I just showed you. There's different ways of doing it. All right. All right. So this is these brand associations. There's three different categories that these association categories fit into. So again, there's 26. They're broken into different groups. So we're going to cover those now. So the ones that have a category name of the brand story. The the ones I have highlighted in white are the ones that I'm offering kind of as a really good opportunity for native producers to lean into their values, lean into their story, lean into educating um, consumers why it's important. But let me just go quickly down the list. And so, number one, identify the brand's defining attributes. Uh, an example would be uh, an example would be batteries, Duracell batteries, the longevity category in batteries. That's a defining attribute. So that's really just an attribute. It's claiming to be the longest lasting in that category. So it's really just about an attribute. Uh, give meaning to a perceived weakness. Uh, Weaknesses don't necessarily have to be negative. You can find some humor in talking about them. So an example is Heinz ketchup being slow to pour out of the bottle. They certainly turn that into something to talk about, something to market, something to laugh about. So it's, you can take a perceived weakness and just have fun with it. Uh, and then and then you turn it around, and it's not a weakness anymore. Now it's an attribute. Now it's uh, a big part of your marketing, your positioning, because you're just making that weakness kind of go away. Tell the products, number three, tell the product's creation story. Now, Morning Light kombucha is that definitely in that positioning, the product's creation story, why it came about, why it was needed, has is certainly um, one positioning statement or positioning strategy that is being used there. Another example for a national brand would be Dyson. Uh, and how Dyson, just explains how they created the first vacuum cleaner that doesn't lose suction. Uh, Number four is romance the way the product works. Um, so it could be, it could be that you have a single ingredient product, whereas everybody else has multiple ingredients in it. That might be really something to talk about. Simple, clean, food. So a national brand explanation would be palm, palm, pomegranate juice. Palm is made from 100% pomegranate juice. So it doesn't have it doesn't have other juices in it. That is what they lean into. That's their positioning. Celebrate your ingredients. Celebrate how simple your ingredients are. Celebrate where they come from, how special they are, how unique. People can't find those ingredients anywhere else. You're the only one that has access to those ingredients. You are picky about the ingredients you choose, and here's all our. This is where we buy this part, and this is where we purchase this, and these are our partners. Creating the what goes into our product. So celebrate your ingredients in a way that other people haven't. An example, a national brand example for this would be the RX bar. They, were picked up by a large national brand and purchased, but their big claim to fame was that they had, simplicity of ingredients, and their marketing was just no BS. Was their marketing brand, a marketing theme. 6, submit your brand to the torture test. Okay, so if you've got something that you're that has to do with maybe a weightlifting product, or I don't know, something, that's a durable product that you're trying to bring into the marketplace, yeah, submit it to the torture test. Um, Whatever it is. So my two examples would be Febreze, which covers odors, I guess, but their theme is breathe happy. So they take on any tough odors, I guess. And then Jeep, of course, trail rated. You just basically say that, we've put this to the test and it comes out on top. So it's um, so, yes, that's number 6. 7, we get to 7. That's another one that I really think is, has so many opportunities again um, for 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 native products. Tell your origin story. Um, so it really is about, telling where your brand and products come from. What is the history? How did they get here? Tie it to your ancestors. Tie it to your Atika, your grandmother, who taught you things. Uh, uh, it can be the origin story of you, the founder. It could be the origin story of the company. It could be the origin story of the product that would, um, It can, so a real world or a national brand example is Kerrygold butter, made from milk, made with milk from grass-fed cows, comes from the green hills of Ireland. So I guess that resonates with people. Um, Flip that around, indigenize it, and it may just reach a different group of people. Um, so again, I do like to put in a little bit of research. So uh, there was a survey from Nielsen that nearly 75% of consumers consider a brand's country of origin to be equally or more important than 9 other purchase drivers. But the origin can be more than just the country. It's only limited to your imagination. Associating a brand with this origin allows it to draw from the positive associations of the original. For example, Italian and Italians, um, or in case there aren't strong, or in case, so Italian products and Italians, there's lots of pastas and pasta sauces that are able to position themselves as being special. Or in case there's not a strong association of brands, the origin brand can shape and create its own positive. Um, so really American made or locally grown or locally brewed, but even more so, the indigenous people of of South or of Southeastern Washington or something. You can actually romanticize really how amazing, as we all know, because we're all from a different place on this Turtle Island. We know intimately what the amazing qualities of those areas are, and let those consumers see it through your eyes, so that telling it the origin story in such a way that's new, kind of from a contemporary perspective, I would say, uh, really could be very powerful if more and more native producers did that. Create a sense of scarcity and exclusivity. I don't. It's basically what it says is what it means. So if it's a very rare and you have limited editions, and that, or if only few people can get it, that's a positioning. Let experts tell your story. I could go into this a little more, but I think that's a great idea. And it might not necessarily be your positioning. It can be if you have some experts that you really want to be your spokesperson, or if you yourself are the expert. People do love to hear from experts, and if you're going to become the expert in this field, yes, that's a really could be a real powerful strategy. It might also be a really great strategy to use as a piece of your marketing. Uh, as we talk a little bit later, the idea of using influencers or creating long form video for your social media marketing is something that you'll be wanting to do, um, and in the future. So keep in mind, letting experts tell your story has lots of different legs. And then become your brand's archaeologist. Just dig into the past, find, really interesting information of how the product came to be, it's why it's here, if it has a connection to Native American, uh, a creation story, by all means, uncover that, and be very detailed, uh, as an archaeologist would, and then just make it kind of fun facts, and then make it part of some kind of personality of your brand. So that's the first group. I hope all of you maybe had some ideas sparked for how you might want to use, some of these strategies for your own products. I hope you kind of really could see the connection to the morning light kombucha positioning and see how it kind of came to life. I got two more categories to go through, so we're gonna keep going. Any questions? Let me check. Oh, all right, gonna keep going. Like I said, I have 26, but a few of them I'm going to highlight a little more. Frame of reference and context. So this is about comparing yourself in the market or aligning yourself with things in the market. So tap into consumer rituals. This is a good one. Depends. I mean, what depends on your product. Um, let's think about. Uh, I think about Oreo cookies. You eat the inside first, and then the outside. It's a pretty big ritual that they've turned into a whole positioning thing. Another, I don't know. You might position your product if it's a snack product. It might be the product to snack on while you're watching Netflix. You can these sound like campaigns, but you can make them a positioning statement. These are your favorite snack while um, climbing Mount Tahoma, or I don't know, or visiting uh, some just doing something, whether it's an outdoor activity or it's a family activity or something that makes memories. Uh, and you're going to think about all the rituals that your consumer performs in your category and think about how they interact with the product and where they do it and when they do it and how they use it. So that could be a lot of fun. 2, disrupt the category convention. Um, this one's a bit more complicated, but it's about um, knowing, your category is kind of, this is fast. Okay, so fast food, in fast food advertising, they always show food. That's a convention. That's a category convention. With new cars, you always buy new cars at dealerships. So if you think about what always happens inside your category, maybe you can think of something. Does it always have to be that way? And are you doing it different? And now you make a big deal of that. Like, however, so it's this contrast that you're creating that could be, again, a lot of fun. You want to connect with your consumer if it seems like something that will resonate and connect emotionally with your consumer and something that has legs and something that you can really believe in, then something like this might work. Claim the category standard. Not really easy to do for a new brand. There are a lot of category gold standard owners out there that are larger. Um, yeah, that one's a little tough. An example would be an example is changing the gold standard, I guess, would be a way to do it. In other words, uh, pizza used to, you had to be delivered, and that was the gold standard. And then DiGiorno, which is a brand that you buy at the grocery store, they tried to change that, and their tagline is, "It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno." So they're claiming, of course, that this frozen pizza is as good as delivery, and so you don't need to. You can buy it and put it in your freezer and have it ready all the time. So they're claiming the gold standard by switching um, the paradigm. All right, next one. Leverage the usage or consumption text. So it's um, a little bit about talking about when you consume this product, when you use it, and then romance that. It's a little like one of the ones like tap into consumer rituals, a little bit like that. But an example is the Kit Kat bar. Take a break, take a Kit Kat bar. That's saying, hey, when you take a break, eat a Kit Kat bar. So you're talking about when you use it, this is a great time to use it. And then you start, leveraging that time of day or that need for, I think Snickers might be that when you're hungry, you need a Snickers. Um, so, how would you go about figuring out if that would work for you? Well, list all the usage and consumption occasions of your brand, and then, you know, try to figure out where your brand is typically used or consumed, and then by whom and why, and see if there's some interesting threads there that you can find. All right, I like this one a lot. I think everyone probably here can identify, with this. Number 5, identify what you're against. Okay, this one we can, we can identify. So an idea, we can identify an enemy. This can be super effective to motivate people to change their behavior when the common enemy can be identified. So think corporate foods, industrialized farming, big pharma, um, the oil industry, um, GMOs, uh, non-organic foods. Just think about, what you're up against and why and talk about those things. Um, so what problem, does your brand solve? What enemy is your brand fighting against or taking a stand against? This is an obvious hero's journey brand story, which is great. I mean, it would give you certainly uh, some real strong things to stand on. Just make sure it's a lasting thing to stand on. Make sure that your origin, your founders, make sure the company really believes in it and are willing to take that stand. But it could be your positioning statement or strategy. It also could be just one piece of another positioning strategy. So that one I needed to highlight for you. Overcome consumption barriers. Uh, so there's a lot of every category has barriers that you have to overcome, and sometimes you build it into your business plan. A real world larger company example is just CarMax, which has taken on the negative perception of buying used cars, right? And I think their slogan is the way it should be, which is great. Shouldn't have to deal with a bunch of um, used car salesmen in a negative way to purchase a car. So there might be some barrier that you're helping your customer overcome, and that could be a big part of your positioning statement, a major part of your positioning statement. If you are mm, delivering locally, and that's what you do, and that's what you mainly do, that is great. Certainly breweries do that. They're really based on on finding their products locally, microbreweries. And so that might not be enough for a complete positioning statement, but it certainly can be a part of your positioning, unless it's something you find that's super unique. Resolve a category paradox. So an example is Hallmark. Hallmark is, okay, so Hallmark is a greeting card business. But, okay, so that if all they thought about was they're a greeting card business, then their positioning might just be all about, here's greeting cards and we have stores and we have you can go buy these in stores and such, and it's just about the business and it's pretty in a box. But you could also consider Hallmark to be a gifting business, right? So that's a little bit different. Now they're a gifting business. What does that mean? When you redefine it, we're not in the business of creating uh, healthy food. We're in the business of um, wellness. So it's redefining the category you're in a way that the paradox changes and the way you talk about yourself changes. So, uh, like myself, I'm in the business of website development, graphic design, marketing, communications, but I'm really in the story about, I mean, really in the business of telling stories. When I start talking about me being in the business of telling stories, it just changes and I talk about it in a different way. Uh, that's changing the category paradox that you're in. 8, redefining the business you're in. Kind of similar. Uh, I think I had that backwards. Hallmark is business, redefining the business you're in. Resolving a category paradox. The example is a category paradox is an example is organic food cannot be cheap. That's the paradox inside that category. So if you list all the different paradoxes in your category and you use a simple formula of my brand is X, it can not also be Y. You can kind of try to figure out those, organic food cannot be cheap. Well, organic food, maybe being cheap is not really have anything to do with it. So resolving a category paradox is that. Redefining the business you're in is the example I gave for myself and for the Hallmark. Finally, number 9, be a part of culture. So culture is a set of beliefs. It's a set of beliefs, values, behaviors, social patterns at uh, that define a specific group of people at a specific point in time. So I think that this is something that I highlighted because I do believe there are subcultures and cultures on social media in our consumer, um, inside our millennials, inside of Gen Zs, um, that are important cultural groups in some manner. And so if if you can tap into some of that of being part of Gen Z's, or being a part of millennials or any other kind of group or subculture, maybe you're part of a group that, again, it could be the culture that is very, very concerned about sustainability. And so, what are the relevant core beliefs and values and behaviors that define this culture or this subculture? How can your brand claim or participate or cooperate with the key insiders in that culture in a way that will make it look more appealing to members of the subculture? So I think that this strategy is, again, it can tie with a few others, but it can also be just a really great positioning statement because that consumer is out there. Next group, let me try to, where are we? Time. We're doing okay. Okay, again, what I'm hoping you do is you're thinking about your brand, you're thinking about your project or others, and you're thinking about, okay, how do I make this into a positioning statement for myself? How, these are, again, creative. This is a very creative process. It's being creative, finding connections that work, finding something that connects you to your consumer and differentiates you and makes you stand out from your competitor. And that's what you're doing here. You're finding something that works for you. So we start at the top is tell a compelling benefit story. Now, what you're doing here, this category is called defining the human connection. So we are trying to tap into human desires, aspirations, values. So, so tell a compelling benefit story. Uh, a real world um, example of a car brand is the BMW. Its tagline is the ultimate driving machine. So that's tapping into people's need to own the very, very best. That's just one example. But you're going to, you can find a whole lot of these things that tap into people's aspirations. And I will keep going back to sustainable products because those people are out there. But so people who might, want to buy more sustainable products. It might not just be sustainable, but maybe they want to support small producers. Maybe they do really want to buy local, and local might mean, somewhere in their state. But what you would do is you'd sit down and list all your benefits, including all your functional, emotional, social, and psychological benefits, and then um, of your customers or of your product, and then try to take those and kind of reword them to be unique and exclusive to your brand. So it's really taking your benefits and then talking about them in a compelling way. I think it's what you need to do in just about any position, but this could be uh, really the way you talk about it, the way you tell the story might, and just really lean into those benefits because those benefits might be all you really need for your positioning statement. But just, you know, really, um, uh, reword and make them even more compelling to reach uh, the emotional level of your customer. All right, I've highlighted dramatize the reward or the threat. Um, yeah, so um, to do this, you're going to kind of the reward. Okay, here's a reward. If I buy this product, I am going to make the world more sustainable. So if I don't buy this product and I buy this other product that is, sourced all over the world, place, or use um, products that definitely contributing to the degradation of our environment. Um, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So the reward is making the world more sustainable, making our food systems, leaning into regenerative farming, uh, learning about what that is. So the reward is great when we bring our food systems in more local. So you're dramatizing the reward, right? You may be the threat. I think that's also kind of that enemy paradigm. But I think this has real, there's a real possibility here for products that are produced by native producers. Celebrate the sensory product of the brand. I think if depending on your product, right, there might be something really unique about it. It could be a product, a traditional food product that is unique because it's not well known in non-native food systems. It could be something really unique. So uh, if it so talk about that uniqueness. Does it have some sort of bite or unexpected sensory? Talk about that and make that sound like it's a really good thing, and have fun with it. In the real world, you kind of think about chewing gum commercials. They're always have some way to kind of explain what it's like to chew the gum. And when you're thinking about your product, you're really thinking about those tangible feelings, not the emotional. So you're thinking about the tangible feelings of experiencing, uh, and you're focusing on those sensory experiences. Create a ritual around using your brand. Oh, I leaned back on the Oreo cookie and eating the middle first. Another ritual would be squeezing lime into a Corona. Um, if you're introducing new products that might be native products. I'm familiar with non-native audiences. There might be something that you do uh, eh, to the product that makes it, just it's just the ritual of consuming that product that nobody knows, but make a big deal out of it, and again, just capture people's imagination and excitement for adding a new ritual to their lives. Identify your brand's archetype. This is very common, very, very common. People kind of go through this sometimes when they're teaching or talking about brand stories. I certainly have done this myself, but what I want you to know is that this brand positioning is not writing a brand story. This is about positioning. This is your inside strategy for your business on how you're going to position yourself in the market in relation to your competitors. It's what you want people to hold in their mind, the relationships, um, in the associations to your brand. Okay, so that's what brand positioning is. Brand story is a different thing. A brand story, though it's important, it will naturally arise when you're doing this positioning. When you do the writing that's forward facing, your brand story will emerge once you do all of these steps. So this identify your brand's archetype has to do with, I don't know if you know what architects are. So in writing, there's the hero, the jester, the creator, the outlaw. So an example is Nike's a hero, Skittles is the jester, Lego is a creator, and Harley Davidson's an outlaw. Um, Archetypes are present in our cultures everywhere, in all the stories we tell. The the stories that we as Native people tell, the ones that have been told to us by our ancestors, contain archetypes. Coyote, um, raven. Every culture has their um, their characters, but these are models of people and behaviors and personalities that tap into universal core desires and truths and drives and fears and yearnings and so knowing the role you want your brand to play in people's lives, the stories you want to tell about your brand, and the type of products you want to create can be guided by this archetype. I there is a place for the hero story. There is a place in the personality that you create for your brand that makes the consumer the hero. You're flipping the script and making your consumer the hero, and you're their guide. You, they're the hero because they're saving the world by eating more sustainable products and consuming less non-sustainable products. And you're the guide. You're helping them do that. You're helping them be the hero. That's another type of uh, archetype brand positioning. All right, number 7. This is the last one. I know this is kind of long-winded. Brand purpose. I do think this is trending. It's still very much consumers are reacting to this. They want to know why you exist. They want to know your purpose. Why did you invent this? Why are you doing this? They want to know more about why you're doing what you're doing. So I'm going to give you this overview. This is a little bit of the questions that you might ask yourself if you were trying to develop a brand positioning strategy around identifying your brand's purpose, or a brand, your brand purpose is your strategy. So why was the brand created in the first place, beyond just being financially successful? What motivated the founders? What problem were they trying to solve? What impact do the founders aspire to have on society in general? What changes did or does the brand want to bring into the world? What does the brand passionately care about? Those are the questions that'll kind of lead you to kind of finding those answers if you want to do a brand purpose type of positioning strategy. You would list all the high-level benefits to the consumer. What benefit or value does your brand provide to the consumer? And why that matters to the consumer, and how does your brand contribute to and is really passionate about the benefits to the consumer? So there you go. A whole lot of information, 26 different ideas. We will, this will be recorded so you can kind of go back through these to spark new ideas. Any questions? I have just a few more. Oh, a few more things. Let me go ahead and see if there's any questions. Chat. When you say put it through the torture test, what happens if your brand fails the torture test? Well, I don't think it might not be your positioning strategy. If that's the case, you have a ton more options to choose from, and yeah, that might not be the right one. I think you would be doing something that was a little rugged or something if you do that. All right, I just want to make a case. I love research. This is part of me doing the research, so you don't have to. This is a case for purpose-driven positioning, which we just talked about, and I gave you all those questions that you ask yourself to get to it. So here's the research. And this is from consumer research that is available through the National Retail Association. 44% of consumers prefer to buy sustainable, organic, or environmentally responsible products. This is an increase. So that's why it's news, is that it's an increase over years before. So this is interesting, right? For products that are in this genre. Um, they the purpose-driven consumers also say they're willing to pay premiums for products that align with their values, and change their shopping habits to reduce environmental impact. Value-driven consumers also say they're willing to pay, um, uh, or that say that they're more focused on, they're willing to pay the premiums, but they're more focused on the price and convenience, always looking to get more for their money. So they say they'll do it, they don't always pay that premium. The study found that these consumers are willing to pay an average premium of 67% for sustainable brands, 73% for health and wellness benefits. Um, yeah, so there are some that are willing to pay the premium. Um, so out of these, the categories that the study put people in is purpose-driven consumers at 44%, value-driven consumers at 37%, brand driven consumers at 15%, and product-driven consumers at 4%. Those are not tied to any brand. They're the least engaged shoppers are at 4%. Brand-driven are consumers at 15% are ones that are using trusted brands. So this is news. This is new information this year. This is well, no, I'm sorry, 2022, I think is when it was. But this is new information. So this is something to realize that this is an opening and opportunity, the way I see it. Oh, here we go. Willing to pay a premium for products aligned with values. They often purchase more than what is on the shopping list. Well, this is a good part. They introduce new brands to friends and family. They stay on top of trends and what's new in the market. They get inspiration and ideas from social media, and they conduct extensive research online before major purchases. I think that this is a target consumer. I'm sure lots of people are going after this consumer. But the benefit to this particular consumer is that they are brand ambassadors because they like to share online what purchases they've made and talk about them. So this I wouldn't say that this is about influencers. These are just this type of they might be influencers, but they also just are online, living online, and um, they certainly are a real possible target. So purpose-driven positioning strategy. What that does is basically align audience values with your brand values, with indigenous values. I think there's a connection. I think it can be done. I challenge you to find through lines that uh, not only leverage the fact that this is a native owned product, but it's also uh, it's because of that. It's because who you are that you've created this brand, and so those values are imbued into your brand, and they certainly align to the audience who's looking for sustainable products uh, or products that are healthy options. mm, a few very common indigenous values are environmental stewardship, concern for the next generation, sustainable food systems, and community economic health. Certainly, a fair price uh, is another opportunity out there, which is known as fair trade in certain product lines. So these high information consumers are purpose driven. They expect brands to be clear, honest, credible, and open with their information. They spend time investigating brands and everything about you. They also expect to engage with brands. So be prepared to have conversations. Make sure you have a chat function. Um, and the beauty of in return, you gain powerful brand ambassadors with wide networks. So I think that that's wonderful consumer to include in your audience. If that's the case, if it aligns, if they are in your audience, then pay special attention to them. I just got 15 minutes. Any, I don't see any questions. I'm going to jump into the next piece. This one's fun. This is social media trends. So I have lots of action items for you. 2024, 12 social media trends. First, we're going to start with uh, the top social media platforms in 2024, which we're well over halfway through, but Facebook, Instagram, YouTube holding strong at number 1, 2, and 3. It looks like this also applies for business to business as well as business to consumer. I think the one area that some of you have to really think about is that YouTube being in third place. So this is great information. Yes. So when you're thinking about your customers and you're thinking about where they're at, you need to know what the top platforms are so you can find them. Highest ROI for advertising. Uh, and so ROI is return on investment. This has to do if you're going to purchase advertising on these social spaces. So highest return is YouTube is out in front. So if it's something that you want to dive into YouTube or you're already there, it probably would be a sound choice to redirect an ad buy budget to YouTube. It's interesting, number 2 being Facebook, that Facebook went down a bit. That's something I've experienced myself. But it's still high, still at 22%. So it's still a decent value. It just sort of went down a bit year over year. Instagram jumped up. That's great, especially if your clients are there. And there's TikTok and the other two. So that's great information if you're really thinking about jumping into buying ads. I think this was my wrap up at the end. All right. So this is social media trend number 1. Audiences are connecting with relatable, authentic content that shows brand values. So the action item is prioritize understanding brand values and how they connect to your products and audience. Again, this is from a study. You can find it. It's by HubSpot, and it's great information. So supporting that statement I just made about audience connecting to relatable and authentic content that shows brand values. So this is kind of what type of social media content has resulted in the biggest ROI for your brand. Marketers answer funny content, relatable content, interactive content, 12%, authentic content, 12%. At 10% is educational and informational, at 9% brand value content, and then 7 nostalgic and trendy. So I think all of these are great. You don't have to just do funny, use all of them because they all have a place in this matrix. But it's really, really good to see this broken out like this. Number 2 includes 3 different things. Again, it's really about as consumers are embracing um, um, 3 different types of content, and these 3 contents are what is being used to deliver that relatable, authentic content, and it's long form video or temporary content. Those are favorable. Uh, the next form of content that they're embracing for that relatable and authentic content is short form video. That's still delivering ROI, which means it's related to maybe running them as ads or boosting them, and engagement. Engagement is has to do with organic social media. We're still on number 2. The other type of thing that's working really well still is memes, funny posts. They are out producing product focused content. So this trend is all about embracing these formats, making them, engage. You want to engage your consumers, and they should be relatable and authentic. And you really need to know your consumers to create it. All right, this one's huge. Consumers are fully embracing social media shopping. That means if you have products that you're selling, you should start selling your products on social media app. Uh, this this is very important. I've seen it on lots of studies, and so it's one thing that you need to add to your e-commerce solution. This number 4 is related to this. Consumers are primarily doing research via social media and video. They are not using search engines. So what the actionable item for you is that you have to embrace data even more. You have to build out some easy to read metrics, dashboards tailored to that consumer journey. Learn, how did those consumers find your product and ultimately make a decision on buying. What this does is it's completely upended, not only it's really upended that consumer journey. There is a new consumer journey that looks like this. We search social media for a problem or even jump right to the solution like curly hair brush. Then we watch reviews or instructional videos about the product or tool, and then we make a purchase right from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. That's the new customer journey. Do you need to completely abandon your website? Don't do that. Don't do that at all. You still need a website. You still need a place to put your content. That's really easy to find, because they still are going to, there will be consumers that will go to your website to learn all the nitty gritty in one place. But this is the new customer journey. It goes right along with that other journey I told you about, that hybrid journey, which is that consumers are doing the research on social. They might go to the store to look at the product, touch the product. They might buy it online. or vice versa. They might buy in the store because it's right there and it's convenient. So these consumer journeys have changed. So you have to work that into your strategies. So fostering active brand social media communities is driving engagement and loyalty. So what that means is you have to have more than just a social media management strategy that's putting out content. You also need to plan for community engagement strategy. You need people that are interacting. You need to prioritize the interaction that's happening with your brand, and find strategies for increasing engagement. That it really does need to be a dedicated person, or a dedicated budget, or dedicated uh, effort. Uh, and so dig into that, and really find ways to make that happen, so that you're not losing people, and that you take advantage of people who really want to talk a lot about brushes for curly hair, or whatever that is, whatever that topic is that you engage in. So this might certainly might be for larger brands, but a social media manager posts on behalf of the brand. They're in charge of the overall social strategy. They create and schedule content. They're really interested in the KPIs related to brand visibility and audience building. However, if you have a budget for 2 people, the community manager is the one that posts as a brand ambassador often under their own social handles, if that works for you. They answer customer questions, they help to solve problems, they launch and moderate community discussions. They are most interested in KPIs related to brand engagement and interactions. So it's kind of splitting those 2 things apart, making them dedicated. We recommend that all the time. It really does need to be these 2 different functions. All right, so part of branding is understanding your values and your voice and the things you talk about. Um, and so, in order to be prepared for anything, you need to have an action plan with a brand point of view and values for special Indigenous days and world events. So work with your organization's leader. Be prepared to share your organization leader, or your company founder. Be ready to share their perspective, if that's something your audience cares about. So have a plan on what is said, and how it's said, for important special days related to uh, Indigenous special days, or um, or special observance days around something inside of the industry that you care about, and that's related to your brand. Social media trend number 7. Ah, looks like the one I just did. A strong brand. Now this is really what this one is supposed to. Oops, this one's about the action items, wrong here, but this is about really understanding, having a brand guide, having a strong brand identity and a voice on social media, um, so that and promoting individual creators' voices is becoming more important. So what you might be doing, uh, part of it is so that you have a real set of brand guides and brand voice so that you can share that with the creators that you choose to create for your social media. But you also then have this clear understanding of what your brand values are so that then you can also coordinate and work with influencers. So this is um, and working with influencers has kind of changed a little bit, and that's in my next uh, slide. So yeah, influencers are still important, but the trend is to work with smaller influencers, local community influencers. Um, so, identify who those people might be. It might be they've never been an influencer and they don't even consider them as influencer, but create a relationship and figure out, kind of walk uh, that path with them and see and um, maybe develop influencers or people that would be some sort of um, a benefit to both you and them. So, but you do need to really be clear, really have a clear understanding what your brand values are, so that your brand values align with their values, not just brand values, but your values as a person, your values as a company. Um, um, and Laura says, what makes someone an influencer versus someone who has a prominent social media following? Well, it's an influencer is going to be somebody who's willing to talk on your behalf in some way. So it really is about intent. It's about, and if they are an influencer, um, they kind of, if they aspire to be an influencer, they kind of know that that's what they're doing. So you, it's definitely somebody who understands the role of featuring or talking about your brand in some way. So it could be very subtle, the way they do it, or not so subtle. But you'll it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Every industry is going to be different. It will definitely be your uh, a project to kind of figure that out. But as you do that, I mean, but you want to do that well before you have a campaign. So, say you have a big event coming or you have a big launch, you'd want to partner with influencer to kind of talk about that launch way before it happens. But like I said, you don't have to go with the biggest ones. You can go with some much smaller ones, and that is the trend. And by small, I think, yeah, 1K to 100K is what we're saying. Trend number 9, social media marketers are using AI tools. So your action item is to invest in AI policies, training, and tools. Uh, and what are people using AI for? The most popular ways social media marketers are using generative AI are getting ideas and inspiration, writing copy, and repurposing content by adapting it to the different audience format and tone. So those are the top ways they're using. Notice that there isn't um, a generative image being created. So I would say to you to um, definitely, stay away. I would say stay away from creating generative images, especially of Native people. It is not just as we don't want non-Native people to appropriate our cultures and create pan-Indianism. We certainly don't want AI doing that as well. So stay away from AI generated images unless it's unless there's some reason to say expand, if you have a photo and you need to expand the background or do things and edit and AI can help you with that, then certainly that's just fine. But that's my take on AI, my bandwagon. Why do you need it? So it's a tool for writing, certainly. So, but because you are going to be, if you're going to be using AI effectively, you absolutely 100% need to know your audience, you yourself. You can't let AI know your audience or figure out who your audience. You need to know your audience. All right, because you're the one that is training AI to write what you want them to write or repurpose. In this case, um, you know, by um, okay, so this is simply about you need to know your audience better. So through your own research, through whatever you got to do to understand your audience better, redefine it, which is something you'll always be doing. You'll always be having new. You do that. You're going to analyze the audience and maintain up-to-date audience personas that you share between your entire department. So it's a big bonus for you to have to do this, because you have to do this in order to use AI. And let me just um, and speak on this. So number 11 is that you will be, because you are creating relatable, more authentic, engaging content for your consumers, not just talking about products. Because you're doing that, you can use AI as a tool to refresh content for different platforms, um, or or you can partner with different creators based on channels. So you really each social media platform has its own voice, right? And so you can take if you can train AI on what that voice is, but you have to know your brand. You have to know your voice in order to train AI. So you're going to need to really know what your outcome is. And then whatever comes back, you got to know, put it through your filters, your brand filters. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Oh, not, oh, that sounds good. You really want to know. So you can use AI to refresh content for different platforms, different social media platforms that have different voices. And, again, you need to really, really know that social media. Um, you need to know your audience really, really well to use AI to repurpose content for different segments of your audience. You don't need AI for any of this, but you might find a workflow that works. But in order to use AI, you have to know what you want the outcome to be, and what the uh, and how and know what your brand voice is, so that you're not getting something that just is an amalgam of whatever. All right, there you go. I just wanted to finish with social media trends because I think those things are actionable and we have to look at those every single year. So these are from 2024. There'll be new ones next year, but I am at the end of my time. I'm so happy to have been here to give everyone this what insight I have, and I am so grateful to have been invited to do this. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Jill, and thank you for all of this great information. We'll give it a few minutes if anyone has any last minute questions. Otherwise, we will wrap it up. This will be available on our Mighty Networks platform. Of course, we're looking forward to using it in a lot of programming moving forward, and we're just so, so thankful to Jill for her time and her expertise. and assisting us with this. So thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
With that, I will let you guys have the rest of your day back. And